gosh.
What was that?
All hail our new master, the Night's King.
I just have to say, to start the show, every episode I'm like, this episode was the best one of the season. This episode was the best one of the season. Holy cow.
Crap, guys.
Holy crow.
Yeah, that's...
Holy cruisers. That was full on. But you know what? That was the second half of the episode. We are The Night is Dark, the Game of Thrones podcast. Hey, what's up? My name is Maude Garrett.
I'm Ken Napsuck, and I'm glad you're as composed as that.
Maude Garrett.
Oh, man.
Tiffany Smith.
I am Tiffany Smith.
We all have Twitter at Maude Garrett, at Ken Napsuck, at Tiffany's tweets. Yes. And we have the hashtag The Night is Dark. If you're joining us on the live stream podcast, give it a follow, give it a like, and comment along because Ken will be in the chat room manning that one. If you are only going to catch bits and pieces of this episode, the full thing will be available up at youtube.com/geekbomb, Geek Bombshells. Make sure you give that a subscribe too and a like. And we've got bonus videos, isn't that right, Tiffany?
Yes, we always do bonus videos on my YouTube page, Tiffany Smith. But just a heads up as we start the show, guys, there will definitely be spoilers in this episode. So if you have not watched yet, you might want to definitely check out the Geek Bombs episode after, because we don't want to get any tweets being like, you guys spoiled it for me, because I know a lot of people haven't watched yet, but we will be spoiling. And if you want to just listen to the audio, you can check out the Knapsack files, which those always go up tomorrow too.
I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, no, Knapsack Files, available on iTunes, Stitcher, and Podomatic. Should be up by tomorrow by the afternoon. Wow, where to begin other than maybe start quietly at the beginning, and maybe we all should have a prayer to begin and recover.
Can I just say, this has been a very, very slow season until now, and I think the payoff was enough for me.
But here's the thing. Even though I say every episode, I'm like, this one was my favorite one. I legitimately think this season has been so good because every episode has built up a little bit. And this one, literally, as you're watching the last minutes of it, I was like, it's still going on. I'm loving this, but it's still going.
Yeah.
This was the first time I can't even remember the last time that we all stared at the screen yelling. We were all like, what's happening? Whoa.
Yeah.
And then dead, silence. And
with the end of the show with no music as the credits roll.
Like, this is the most into it we've been ever because
the producers are so good. You know, following the Red Wedding, there was the brutal ending and then just silence.
Yeah,
and they know when to bring that out. They know when to do that. And this a lot of people are. We got one of. We've got 140 people of you watching now live, which is, I think, our biggest number since the premiere episode. That means the anticipation was building to hear. Everyone wants to get in the room and chat and talk and recover from what many are calling in the chat room already the best episode yet.
Yeah.
That's always going to be up for the debate.
Yeah.
Does it beat episode 7 of season 1? I don't know. I'm still just mentally glue and mush right now.
Yeah.
It's the tension.
What was season 1, ep 7?
That is the what I believe is the quintessential one of that is where the actual name Game of Thrones, you play it, you win or you die, all that stuff in the episode. I can't even think right now to give you the details.
I will say too that there was a moment in this episode, which we'll get to it as well, but I love the fact that we had the one season where he said the ladder was what everything was hinged upon.
Chaos.
This episode, I felt like Dany really describes it. And she's like, when she's talking with Tyrion and they're talking about it being a wheel, and she's like, I'm gonna break the wheel, and I'm like, okay, so now we're talking about how everything works as a wheel. But let's break down the whole episode, and then we can spend a lot of time on those last couple.
Then we can
minutes.
talk about the main event.
Yeah, roll up our sleeves and get stuck into it. It starts off in Marine. We finally have what we've always wanted: Tyrion and Dany in a room talking, and of course the elephant is Ser Jorah. And no one really knows what to do with him.
Such the third wheel, this whole scene.
Right.
Yeah.
And these are the changes that we bitter book people can look back. And if you don't, then you're being too holding on to that bitterness. These are the changes that they make that I love, where they take things and explore it. And the fantasy booking aspect of these two in a room, Tyrion and Dany, was, to me, worth the change. It is exciting and fun to watch, even later, but especially here in the beginning.
And I think the exchange between the two of them, we got a lot of this, like those small moments between two people having incredibly powerful and game-changing conversations throughout some of the other seasons. I don't know that we've had as many of those this season until this episode, because just the fact that when Tyrion's talking and he says, I am the greatest Lannister killer of all time. And then he says to her, do you deserve my service?
Yeah.
To Dany, which I was just like, the way he came to play and was ready again. Which...
I rarely brag on myself. I had an interview. I got a big job a few years ago, about 10 years ago. And in the interview, I told Liddy, I'm also interviewing you.
Yeah.
I love Tyrion for that. He is so good. He is born to advise to women.
Yeah, exactly right.
This is it.
I've been waiting the whole show for this to happen in a way. I love that Dany recognizes who her father is. And this is a battle of, my father, Tywin, he's one of the best leaders that the world had seen until his timely passing. I killed him. And Dany's going, you know what? I know that the Mad King deserved his name.
Which was
that's my dad.
Or he earned his name.
A great moment, because especially going back to season 1 and Viserys putting wrong things in her head and everything, it's been this process of growth of her to realize her lineage is not, it's her strength because it gets her what she deserves in her mind, but it's also, it's a caution and it's a warning. Well, it's a good point for her.
When a Targaryen is born, you flip a coin. Right. And you see whether they're going to be mad or if they're going to be sane. And we know that Viserys was the mad one.
Yeah.
So, Dany, I'm ready for her to spread her wings and rule as the mother of dragons. Yeah. But for the first time, in about 4 or so episodes, we hear about Varys again.
Yeah.
And I feel that he's had his redemption and that Tyrion's been able to finally defend him and say his side, because Dany's only ever known the man who basically put out a hit on her and was getting people to spy on her. So she feels so betrayed by Varys. And Tyrion's like, that's not entirely true. Yeah. This man actually believes in you.
And he did what he had to do to stay alive, but he was also doing other things, which I think it's interesting too, because this is the first time that anyone is actually recognizing Tyrion for the man that he is.
Yes.
Fully. Where she's like, okay, yes, I want you to be my advisor. I don't want you to be so drunk that you can't answer my questions anymore.
Yeah.
But I do think that you actually have valid points that are going to help me along this path, which... Up until now, he's been kind of the like silent, quiet one. And he says at one point, he's like, I was a great hand to the king, even when he wanted to torture and kill animals. So I think I can do a pretty freaking good job with you.
But I also like how he called Dany out. He's like, you know what? You've actually been making some pretty good decisions here. You're marrying someone that you just don't love. Right. People have to do that. My sister had to do that. You know, didn't turn out so great, but she did that.
But she also didn't get to choose. That's what he was saying too. He was like, my sister did, but she didn't choose who it was. You're doing the same thing, but you're in control of all of this, which makes it so different.
And he was also saying, you know, you opened the fighting pits, and even though that's something you didn't want to do, you should have. So good on you. Well done.
And the first major decision Tyrion helps her make is to send my man, Ser Jorah, out of the city again. We can't win, Jorah. We can't win guys like us.
It was literally, though, the perfect moment when he gets let out and he turns and looks. He sees his arm, and then he sees a giant stoned man. And I was like, yeah, that's going to be you soon, buddy.
What I do like, though, is that this is Tyrion proving his worth as well. He's like, here is a man that, he kind of kidnapped me, but then he saved me to bring me to you for the greater good. And I'm going to tell you that keeping him around isn't a great idea. Even though I owe this man my life, I'm still going to make the best decision for you as your advisor.
And I still think it's strategic, because I guarantee that somehow, some way, Tyrion is going to know where he is.
Yeah.
Like at some point, if they need him for something, Tyrion is not the type of person that's like, I'm just going to let this guy float out into the wind and I'm going to have no idea who this is or where he's gone. Because he knows, if Jorah's smart, which, I mean, we kind of saw what his plan is at this point, but I'm like, he should go and try and find Varys so he knows what's going on.
Yeah. I hope so. And it kind of feels so great as Varys, too. They kind of threw him a bone to actually be in the show this year, because really he'd be nowhere if they kept straight to the books on that. So I'd love that. Wouldn't be bad. You know, there's the show's obviously going in a little bit of a giant different direction with Dany and Tyrion and all this stuff right now. But this is, again, I'm enjoying this, and not that I have to, and they don't have to cater to me and the book readers. Everything, they can make their own decisions. But this is a decision that the first 5 minutes I was already hooked on this episode.
Oh, totally.
What do you guys think is with Jorah wanting to go and fight again? Is his game plan?
Well, he's
all in.
He just wants to keep getting in front of her.
No. He's got his days are numbered.
He's all in.
He's got nothing. What's he going to do? Travel for 3 months and slowly die?
But what's he going to do? Go into the pits and fight and win anything, and then be like,
oh
give
my God,
it to Dany.
It just dawned on me.
What?
Why do you think he wants to rule the fighting pits? Because Dario did, and look where Dario is. In her bed. game plan.
I don't think he knows about that, though. He doesn't know Dario's story.
He knows that. Well, he knows that Dario's in her bed. That's all that matters.
He knows that, but he doesn't know about. I don't know if he knows about them being in the fighting pits.
But that's his plan. It's a Hail Mary desperation pass here. He's dying, according to this thing, or slowly dying, or not going to be who he is. He's not going to be a man anymore. He's going all in. Chips are all in. He's going all in. Put me in the fighting pits. I'll get back to her some way, because it's true love.
And you can take as many down with them.
And that was one of the best lines too, when Tyrion was like, also, I think he's in love with you.
Yeah. And the tiniest little violin came out and played a sonnet as well. Did you notice that?
You're like, let's just throw that line in there so she knows.
It's so obvious, but she doesn't feel anything. This is the thing. Like, Tyrion's going, this guy isn't so bad. Like, he's got your back. He'll do anything for you.
You think Daenerys doesn't feel anything for Jorah? Now, I'm not talking lovey-dovey. I'm talking...
She felt so betrayed. She's never, ever going to...
If she felt nothing for him, she wouldn't have been so betrayed by him.
A woman
if she had no feelings.
But now, I'm talking about now. I get that. But now, you think she's not looking out at him and kind of secretly going, I just wish it would be okay?
No, I think she cares about him, but she's like, I'm at this point now where I see what my one goal is. And even with Tyrion saying to her, maybe you should choose another goal. Maybe you should not be after the throne. I think she realizes that, okay, this thing over here, I can't have any of this other stuff in the way of that. The best I can have is Daario in my bed, and then the rest of the political stuff
pretty good
is where it is.
We didn't see him this episode, but we did see Missandei's abs.
We did that. Yes, we did.
Yep.
That was kind of distracting. We go to King's Landing next, and what a satisfying feeling it was to see Cersei in a dungeon, in rags, in squalor.
You liked that.
It was pretty, confess, I'm going to slap you in the face with a bowl multiple times.
Yeah, this was not fun at all. She is rock bottom at the moment, and they're saying confess your sins, because she is being, she's up for incest, treason, regicide, and fornication.
Yep. And the murder of Robert,
which is regicide. Yeah. So she's not going to see the light of day, and if she confesses, she did.
I also love what this show does, where it's like it casually brushes over things that you're like, oh, they know that. Where it was like the regicide, the murder of Robert, where you're just like, oh, we're just going to rattle these things off.
Yeah.
And hopefully you catch all the things that the High Sparrow knows.
He knows all. But what I thought was really great was she's going, I created the High Sparrow. I created him. I rose him up to who he is. How could he do this to me?
Yeah.
And it's like, how are you so blind to not see that this is what he was wanting?
Well, again, this is the, and it wasn't surprising to anyone watching who didn't know. I mean, you saw it happening. You saw Cersei get to her lowest level, licking soup broth, maybe off the floor, dirty water off the floor, because she has to survive to do that. I mean, this is a long fall going back to season 1, episode 1.
I think she's pushed so many people away as well. Like, we saw how she used to interact with Jamie, where she's like, oh, get off me. Oh, you're a cripple. Look at you with your no hand. You're worthless. And so she's in a cell and she's like, where's Jamie? It's like, he's gone, babes. You sent him away.
I'm not going to answer your call.
I wonder if there will be, because they are so good at making great character arcs on this show, that I'm like, there is a chance that maybe Cersei has some kind of change of heart through all of this. Is she a Ramsay? Probably. I have hope.
Well, I wouldn't want my dear Cersei to be any other way. I love her for the bitch that she is to the bitter end.
And she truly is one in this episode. I keep thinking too, I asked you guys, I was like, where's Marjorie? I hope she's in the cell right next door.
And they can hear each other cry.
Everything going on.
This summer on the WB, Marjorie and Cersei in a cell that...
Yeah, it was that. And then there was that one cut at the very beginning that was so great with Cersei in the prison, and she just screams out. And then I think, I don't know what it went to right after that, but it was a really quick cut, which they don't generally do on the show.
It went to Cat of the not Cat of the Canals.
No, not Cat of the Canals.
Lana.
Lana
of the Canals.
Lana, yeah.
If you're a WWE fan, that's a weird reference.
Lana Lang?
No. So yeah, that was the scene. The first Cersei scene was really quick.
Yeah.
Which they did effectively this time around. And Benioff and Weiss wrote this episode. Who out there has the name of the director? I didn't write that down. I saw Rachel Cushing. Who directed this episode?
She'll know.
Because he directed it brilliantly with these short cut scenes.
Yeah.
Where 2 episodes ago we were kind of complaining that it was a season 1 style. which wasn't a bad thing in season 1, where it's like Braun and Jamie, and then you kind of longer scenes, and then we're like, get some story in, and they did that really well here.
That's, again, another reason why I love this show, because I think part of why everyone enjoys it so much is because you don't know what you're going to get. So sometimes you come in and it's an episode where it's like you're going to get long scenes and long conversations, maybe 2 locations. Sometimes you're going to get quick cuts between here, here, and here. This person's going to die. This person's going to like be having sex with someone in a crazy way. This person's going to be fighting with a sword, whatever it is. And I love that.
It's not predictable at all.
Christopher in the chat room says, I feel so weird feeling bad for Circe. No, you feel good feeling bad for Circe. All of you feel good.
Feel good bad.
My poor Circe.
When I did say that she'd sent everyone away, the only person that really came to her is Qyburn, and I think that says a lot, because Qyburn is not stable in the mind.
Well, also, why did the High Sparrow let Qyburn in? Because I don't think they're, like, it doesn't seem like they're letting just anyone come in to talk to them.
No one wants to visit her. She's like, where is my son?
Even her son is
he's not eating any food. He's lost Marjorie and you. He has no one in his life now. He's having a Suki Lala.
He's in
and
his
your
room
uncle's
with
coming
Pounce.
to be the hand of the king. Yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah, which is a great moment, bringing Kevin back into the fold, which kind of syncs up with some book story, and that he's just like, he doesn't want to see you. He's not even eating his SpaghettiOs. He's in his room pouting. His wife, who touched his wee-wee, is not around, and you did it, so he's mad at you.
Yeah.
But Qyburn brought some good information. He also said the key to what a lot of their beliefs here, the belief is the death of reason, and kind of a slight against High Sparrow and religion of all kind and all that kind of stuff. So Qyburn is the actor who is Qyburn. I always forget his name. I got to write it down. He really chews up those moments so well. Yeah. And I love. And then he's like, the work is still going. Wink.
Yeah.
So, which is gonna factor
alive.
in.
It's alive. Yeah, totally.
Qyburn is still working.
And I kind of thought when he was like, there's still another way to get you out, I thought he was gonna be like, you could kill yourself.
Yeah, and then I'll bring you back to life.
You said that out loud while we're watching. Kill yourself? Come on, seriously.
But I mean,
Garrett,
listen though, if he really is making progress with the mountain.
You're right, though. I didn't think that the other way is to confess.
Miguel Sapochnik. Wow, that's a name I don't want to say wrong fast. Thanks, Alex Welsh from schmoesno.com and Screen Rant watching right now. He's got the name of the director. Miguel did a excellent job with this entire episode. From beginning. The pacing was great, and a great script, I think, for Benioff and Weiss.
Just those moments that were drawn out where you weren't breathing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Let's talk about Lana.
Yeah,
Lana.
Lana.
So let's not get bogged down by the books, but I
don't need to. Yeah, I won't. Oh, I thought you were talking.
No. Like I was going to say, but it is worth mentioning that Arya decided to adopt her fake name as Cat. I think for her mother in a way. And the alley cats that would roam around.
And right when she says that they talk about going to the canals, a cat's on that word. If you go watch it again, which I will 3 times this week. Yeah. They timed that obviously perfectly. The canal and a cat goes by. So it's probably them. It's the Yara. There's all the similar names. Cat. Let's kind of make it a little different. I would imagine.
Yeah. So it's Lana now. Lana. And Lana, I feel, has evolved into the super spy assassin.
Well, and I showed up and I was like, I did my hair in little braids tonight. I didn't even know that Arya/Lana was going to have her little buns tonight. But I think she is so badass in this episode. She doesn't even do anything, but I'm like, she's so cool.
Here's your mission if you choose to accept. And she's like,
go down to the docks.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, for me, this is one of those changes that Jagan Hagar comes back, and I'm glad he's back. And it's good. I'm watching this section here, and it's been a little bit slow going with Arya this season, and that's one of my least favorite sections of the book too.
Washing down dead bodies, and you're left so in the dark because they're putting their audience in the point of view of Arya, where you're only given little bits of information, and you know what? When that happens, you're not as interested. Yeah, because you're going through the motion of the wheel. So watching this one, you get they shot it well with they're talking over the visuals of what she's doing, and I'm like, I'm happy Jagan's back, and I think this sequence they got through the hard
Yoda Dagobah learning thing.
I was like, it feels so much like Yoda, especially the conversation where it's like, man will not tell girl what she will see at the docks.
Yeah. Well, and same thing with Bran. Same thing with Bran. And I didn't even. We've all drawn the Dagobah comparison several times, but I missed an interview from a few months ago where the producers say, well, we're not having Bran in it this season because it's
Dagobah.
And I knew that, but it's a Dagobah thing, and they say he's going to emerge a Jedi.
Yeah.
You know, so they could have easily done that here, but
they are heading to Bespin now.
Yeah. But I always the faceless god, the many-faced god, and the faceless men thing, kind of a racket. It's like, to me, I'm watching this work. They're like, they recruit people and they're like, oh, you go kill people. I'm sure they take some money. It's kind of a little racket.
As I was watching, I'm kind of like, what is their ultimate goal? Because you haven't really heard that much about what they want to do and why for Arya it's been like, this is the place for me. Because for her, I mean, it's mostly just because she's lost her family. She doesn't have anywhere else to go. This is someone that really looked out for her when she needed it. This is where I can feel safer. But I'm like, what is their ultimate goal? And there was a moment where Jagan says, the other girl says, I don't think she's ready. And he's like, that doesn't matter to the many-faced god. Where it's like,
maybe she,
basically, yeah. So like, what you're saying, she could die and nobody cares.
Little column A, little column B.
Well, remember, I think it was 2 episodes ago where the other girl was telling the story and it was all a lie. But the example that she used was, I wanted to call upon the many-faced god out of vengeance. Yeah, and I used that god to kill was it the mother or the father or someone in her family that had made her life torture. It just seems like this man who's a gambler. It's like, well, if you're in a position where you're at your wit's end and you need someone to kind of come in there, you pray to this guy. He's like the mob boss god.
Yeah.
So Matthew Brand in the chat room says Bran will come back as Luke Cantwalker. I like that.
Took me 3 seconds, but that was great.
That is kind of amazing. Nice one. Nice.
Kyle says, too soon, Matthew, too soon.
And I kind of feel bad laughing, but that's very clever.
It's kind of perfect. It is. It really is.
Good job, Matt. Good job.
Yeah, but it does feel like they are kind of the ones you go to when you're in trouble, which is, I mean, the same kind of thing with like Robin Hood, where it's like, oh, the poor don't have money, so they go to Robin Hood and he steals from the rich. And that kind of feels like what's the situation here, where it was like, okay, the captain of the ship, if they make a gamble and they die, then who's the kids and the mom are really going to go to this man and be like, you owe me money? Probably not.
Faceless men are generally doing good things, but again, when I say a racket, they're doing all this so they can collect more faces to wear. It's like, I don't know, I question their motives.
More faces to wear to what end?
To save, okay.
It's a cycle.
Once again, Tiffany always sees the best in people.
You need to
No. I'm not saying
this a compliment this time. Do you still find Ramsay?
She just wants a point to the religion.
Yeah, I'm not even.
So it's like you need the faces to make the kills, and then when you get the kills, you get the faces to make the kills to get the faces. And just like
save to help people. Okay, all right, I get it.
The snake is biting its tail.
Yeah, I feel like I need to know more about this religion because I don't get it.
And I think it is explained a little bit better in the books, like what the religion is. It goes into a lot of exposition and there's a lot of backstory. So I think, it's fair from what a person who's only watched what it is. They're not making it really obvious about the end goal.
It just seems like a gang.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like a religion of sorts.
So, what? Scott McGrath says the faithless men must have a heck of a consignment shop out back with all the secondhand clothes they pick up. I think that's a good point too.
Also, what do they do with the bodies?
It's a racket. They probably sell them to scientists.
They sell or they sell them like that other guy was going to do with Tyrion's little wee-wee, big wee-wee, his big penis, not his small one.
You just like saying wee-wee.
Out of proportion penis.
His normal proportion penis.
Just don't say that on your wedding night.
Cool. So going into Winterfell now, time-wise, it's obviously
great segue. Penises to the no penis man.
I would expect nothing less from Maude.
Oh, penis to no penis. Look, this is what we waited for as well. Every time we saw Reek and Sansa in the same room, it was like, tell her. Yeah. Well, he did.
Which I'm still, as we were talking about it, I was like, do the Boltons know that? And what we're talking about right now is obviously the moment where she's kind of going to Reek and saying, you killed my whole family. Like, why did you do that? They were your brothers. Rickon and Bran she's talking about. And then he's like, I can't, unless the master tells me I can tell you. And then she just keeps hammering him. And he's like, It was two farm boys. It wasn't your brothers.
Yeah.
One of the things I loved about this scene is our, obviously Sansa has been a focal point of this season in a very pop culture linchpin kind of zeitgeist conversation piece with that negative scene a few weeks ago and all that kind of stuff. But let's throw that aside. Just character-wise, she's been through a horrible time this year.
Yes.
We were so proud of her dyeing her hair at the end of last season and growing and becoming this, and she's playing the game, and this horrible stuff happens to her. This scene showed me she still has fire. She's still alive. She is still willing to fight, and now she got the information she needed or didn't know she needed but needed to hear from Reek Theon, and that for me was a good Sansa moment.
I think two things here. Sansa using her hands on him, that was a very powerful move that she did. He was like, he's obviously so pathetic, and she's just trying to shake him and grab him and be like, I need you to be a man.
Well, also just no one touches him. Who touches him but but Ramsay?
Yeah, that's
He
true.
gave him a very sweet bath once.
That's what I'm saying, though, where it's like that, especially for someone who feels so broken down, like for someone to touch them in any way when he feels as low as he does, because that's where he literally says, I deserve to be Reek for all the things that I've done.
And that was the other big thing that, this whole time he's like, oh, there is no Theon, there is no Theon. He spoke about Theon in a third person, like as a third person.
But there was moments where he didn't speak in third person, and then he would like change back over. So I'm like, he's there.
And again, glitching.
And Kyle, who I know in the chat room is a book reader, made a good point, Kyle, that Reek looks too much like Theon. What we've discussed it probably before here, and I discussed it with friends. In the book, Theon is not only gone mentally, he's gone physically. His appearance is, he's disgusting, and obviously they're not going to do that. It's like Tyrion and his nose still being on. They're just not going to do that to Alfie Allen. So sometimes, especially to maybe non-book readers, you look at it, you're like, well, he got hurt a bit, but
he looks like Smarmy now.
And his wee-wee got cut, but he still looks like Lily Allen's brother.
Well, they still have those moments where they'll say, Ramsay will be like, you smell terrible, like take a bath.
Sure, but again, so visually you're still kind of like, well, that's the same guy. But if you read the book in real time, I didn't read this book. All that stuff with Reek. I already knew who it was, but I have friends who read it in the early 2000s who went with the entire book and didn't know until the reveal. So that's the one thing you are losing book to show here. So in this moment, that's why it is kind of good. You're seeing that struggle. You're seeing him third person, not third person. It's tough. They made that decision to be too clean with it.
And Sansa knows what happened to him, why he's the way he is, because he never actually said, I was tortured. Theon was, and the reason why he is, which means Sansa has an understanding now. Sansa also knows that 3 of her brothers are alive. Not only Bran and Rickon, but her half-brother, Jon, who's at the wall as the Lord Commander.
Yep.
A little bit.
3.
We'll go into that detail.
3 is the number of the brothers.
And then Arya's still alive, which she doesn't know about. It's just poor. I want to call him Richard, which is his name. But it was the oldest brother.
Rob.
I've already forgotten because I haven't seen him.
Rob Stark,
Oh, Rob.
That's a great moment. Again, that was a tiny scene, really, especially in comparison to the rest of this episode. But it was for me, it was one of my favorite Sansa. It was one of my favorite Sansa moments.
I want to say, I think he said, I betrayed Rob.
Yep.
I think he actually, because that's where it's like,
I betrayed
where
Rob.
It's like certain things where he was the things that were so heavy, it was still I did this. And I also thought it was really crazy that Sansa says, if I could do all those things to you that Ramsay did, I would do it here. Like that was for me, I felt like, whoa, but that's a little bit of a is it crossing a line a little bit?
You're too sweet. You say
that she would torture him?
No, it's just one of those things she's saying. But again, to me, it shows that there is something still she is not done yet.
Yeah.
And now that she knows the Stark family, there's people out there when she didn't believe it before or didn't know it before.
She's getting strength.
Big moment.
You move into the strategy room, I guess, and Roose Bolton is talking about how they're going to take defensive measures because they know that the Stannis' army is walking towards Winterfell. Basically, they've got enough supplies for 6 months. They've got great wall structure. They're in the best position that they feel possible, and that made me nervous. I didn't like hearing that.
Well, and he's like, they only have so much food left. Like, they're going to run out of food.
They're going to freeze.
There's still stuff that they talk about that I'm like, oh, They're like, the snow is too high for us to get out.
Yeah, even then. You know?
I'm like, there's that
Winter
much snow.
is
okay.
motherfucking common.
Yeah, winter is there.
Winter is there.
It's winter.
And Bolton Roos knows.
Hello, I'm Winter.
He knows strategy. He knows.
Been talking about me a while.
Hey you guys miss me? I'm Winter. Bruce Bolton knows strategy and he knows this, but it was a weird moment. A little switch in power. They left us a little bit of a cliffhanger of Ramsay's like, I don't need an army. I need 20 good men.
And I'm going to go out there with my men, and I'm going to shake things up a bit.
Yeah.
It's like, you're still a bastard, even though
But the thing is that he hasn't been trained in the way that everyone else has. And he is scrappier. And so there is something to be said that I feel like if he does have a crew of people that are as
he's gonna run into Brienne
and terrible as they are, as he is, then they could actually do some damage.
He's going to take these 20 men, run into Brienne, and realize what it feels like to sit on a sword.
Do you know who I want to run into Brienne?
In a bad way.
The lady who's like in the prison with Cersei. I'm like, a fight between her and Brienne would be epic.
Donk.
Yeah, what did you say to me? Turn over in the show, and you're like, that's like a nun version of Brienne.
Yeah.
What did you say? Yeah.
It's nun Brienne.
Oh, wow. So, the War of Winterfell is maybe coming. We don't know, but and I like it. It also it's a little bit of exposition of like, by the way, here's what's happening to the army. The army's fading away. They're losing people. They're eating their horses. And poor Stannis, once again, he's always in situations where his men have to eat horses.
Oh, that's so bad. Poor Stannis' army. Over at the Wall, it's obviously just moments after Sam lost his V plates.
Yep, his V card.
He had someone sit on his happy sword.
Which also I thought was funny when he came in and he's like, I heard what happened.
I know sometimes it's very normal for men to moan.
I was like, you heard about the fight or about the sexy times?
Ollie's in, and I don't trust this kid at all.
Ollie? He's going to kill another wildling with a boo, an Eru?
I don't trust him. I think I know what they're going with him, and he's not a book character. So they put him in to kind of move some plot. And I was so rooting for this kid last year when the Magnar of then ate his mama and ate his papa.
Yeah, that was sad.
And he kills Ygritte, and he's even then I'm like, good, you got one back. All right, she killed your dad.
He's not happy.
Yeah, he is not. He is not. I don't think Sam picks up on it quite much.
It was the moment where Sam was telling him stuff, and he's like, sometimes you have to do things that everyone else doesn't agree with, but deep down they're the right thing to do. And I was like, bad way to explain this to this kid, because I feel like he's going to take that and be like, John doesn't understand what he's doing, bringing them in. Maybe I should have taken him out.
Yeah, there's just something about this kid. They're setting up, obviously,
he's going to kill someone he's not supposed to.
And I didn't pick up on it. Yeah, I didn't pick up on it last season. He was excellent in the battle. He had the great moment again, killing Ygritte and all that stuff. Not great that he killed the poor woman, but every shot this season, I'm just like, that little shit's going to do something.
Yeah. Especially because he's like, I have a question for you. Why is he saving them? And you're like, well, because it's a whole bunch of people that don't deserve to die.
Did you just go into young Annie voice?
Yes, because that's what
Master Qui-Gon, sir.
That's how he talks in my head.
What is Dragonglass?
That's how he talks, though.
Yes.
I don't know.
So from there
we go and we see the wildling camp and John pulling up in the boat with Tormund.
But we cannot forget the part where it's what looks to be a lot of people, a lot of wildlings hanging out on the edge of the shore.
This is
very tense.
To me, this is no small moment of them pulling up to Hardhome. Hardhome is a place you knew was coming if you knew, and I think they did a excellent job, and it was kind of ominous, and you're coming up there. I love just that little moment again, beautifully directed, shot. I loved that moment. It was great.
And let's just talk about Tormund for a second.
What a legend! I loved it.
He comes up and he's like, you know what? We're in this together to John, because he realizes that they're not walking into friendly territory for either of them at this point, because John's not in cuffs. He's not a prisoner.
Right.
And the guy comes up and he just starts chatting with him. He's like, what are you doing here? You totally screwed up.
Lord
and he's like,
bones.
guess what? And he just wails on him. And I'm like, oh, he's just going to beat him up pretty bad.
Yeah.
No. he kills the guy.
No one steps in at all as well.
Lord of Bones, this is what happens when you make changes from the books. You have characters that you can just do what you want with, and they did what they wanted with the Lord of Bones.
That was hysterical, though.
He is no more. You two,
especially you. So funny. I thought it was so funny.
You wanted to drop to one knee and marry Tormund. You just thought you guys were
brilliant.
It was
because no one stepped, like not one person watching it. I was like, I guess no one liked him as leader. Huh?
There's a guy with thousands and thousands of his people around him, and he's been nominated to be in charge, and he's just like, nope, this isn't going to happen. Not on my land. That's a crew. We hate crews, and if you stand by a crew, then you're dead as well. And he goes, am I? Kadonk, bonk. All right, now where were we? Can we actually have a chat now?
Exactly the sound effects that he did. Kadonk,
it's bonk, a hard people. It's kind of like when the Greyjoy lieutenant killed the Greyjoy captain before they all were flayed at Moat Cailin. But yeah, it's like, all right, hey, this leader, he's talking nonsense. Tormund, you come on in. Let's have a bite to eat and talk about this. Let's have some seal and sit down and talk. But I wish you all. We should have had a camera on you guys. The glee in your reaction to that brutal violence was impressive.
I think it was just because it was so surprising.
It was disbelief. I was like, is he? Are you kidding? And no one's great.
Yeah.
So they were all like, yeah. Right. It's
Didn't see that coming.
It's
not at all.
It's like a Dothraki wedding, you know? Just everyone's like, yeah, cool. The killing started.
Yeah.
When's the chips and dip coming out? So great moment for you guys there and me as well. And Jon Snow goes into his speech.
The serious political
presidential speech.
He's really, every time he's doing his speech for Lord Commander, he's so comfortable and in his own. This is a leader. He is a ruler, and he's selling it. He goes, guys, we can fight about this all we want, but at the end of the day, there's something so much bigger than you and I.
He says, this isn't about friendship. This is about survival, and the long night is coming, and the dead with it. And I'm like...
And he says, join us for the real war.
Yeah.
One of my most... There's a lot... I thought... And what happens in the end, we all know. But one of the most chilling moments in all Game of Thrones is when Osha says, you tell your brother he's marching the wrong way.
Yes.
There was such one of my favorite moments.
Yeah.
And this was all about that. This is all about join us for the real war. And you all know what the real war is. Those dainty daisies in the South don't really know.
They haven't seen White Walkers the way that the wildlings
They know nothing.
But that, for me, there was that moment where it's like, okay, so do we know what that girl's name was?
You know what? Someone someone just saw in the chat room said, who was the wildling chief?
I'm just gonna say, anybody who's seen Pitch Perfect 2, that is the chick who is the head of the like opposing team of singers in Pitch Perfect 2, the Germans.
I want to call her Flea, FLI, future love interest. Except, I was like, oh yeah,
I was like, that's totally John's girl. That's the
new love interest. That's the new love interest, guys.
No more,
I'm
Billy.
Calling it.
Not no more, Billy. Anyone out there know her name? Let's find it. Let's find on IMDb. Not the actress's name. You can find that too. The character's name, because sometimes these characters pop up and you have to research them. And we didn't have the chance. We did not have the chance.
I was going to say she had great authority, and I think that conversation as well showed how much respect they have for Tormund.
That's a good point. Rachel Cushing just said she could have been Mother Mole, which is in the book Who the Wildlings Follow Out to Hardhome. That is interesting. That could very well be, or a take on it for sure, even if they don't call her Mother Mole. This is why I'm glad we have very smart people in our audience.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you guys are the best. I actually sung your praises in a tweet last week because I went back through the comments and you guys are just so intelligent.
Yeah, someone just pointed out on the show
the one's going crazy.
No, we should probably blow that candle out.
Really?
Yeah, we're gonna.
I think it's a match.
No, I wouldn't.
Ow.
Yeah, I would. Don't slam it with. No. You're gonna watch us burn down. Okay. Right. Okay. All right. Live on air, we are fighting a fire here. Don't put a flammable.
But you gotta take all the oxygen out.
Yeah, but don't put flammable candles. Okay, Tiffany has saved our life. Tiffany, actually, I'd like to point out to the people in the chat room, we said, hey, by the way, idiots, the Lord of Light is beckoning Ken. Thank you, Christopher. That is right.
You okay?
Oh, boy.
Hold on. So not only did the most happen in this episode in Game of Thrones, but the most happened in this episode of The Night is Dark as well.
I've just walked through flames and come out unscathed. I am the mother of dragons.
No, Adrian Garcia's right. I am Azor Ahai. Yes, the Lord of Light is here. Well, that was pretty hilarious. We'll have to explain that to David when he comes home from the show.
That we didn't burn down his apartment.
We saved his living. You guys are awesome in the chat room.
Thanks for saving our lives,
hey guys. By the way, you're about to die.
So back where John is commanding all the wildlings.
Wait,
I just like the fact
Christopher
that Maude
asked,
goes, I'm going to fan it with paper.
Hey, she tried. But Christopher asked, what did you see in the flames, Maude?
I saw myself on the mantle walls of victory.
The mantle walls.
That was a terrible try.
It's fine. My tits are beautiful.
Wow, hey.
Well, if I'm the lady of the...
You are. Take that bath.
All right,
let's
let's
get back on track. We're alive. We made it.
Where are my non-virgins?
Get some leeches.
How to make Tiffany incredibly uncomfortable.
So we're alive. Jon Snow's giving his speech. He's saying, come on. The Thenn, by the way, everyone fucking hates Thens.
Yeah.
The Thenn says, we're out. Peace.
Yep.
Get on those little boats. You're going to be killed.
And the giant, too. Both of them are just sitting there, which I didn't realize. It looked like the Thens and the giants are kind of partnered because they look over at the giant and then the Thenn guy comes out and speaks for him.
Possibly. Yeah. I interpreted the visual look of the giant. He's looking at Dragonglass. I think he was contemplating. He was a little pissed off that the crows were there.
Yeah.
But
Well, they're the sworn enemy.
I don't know. I just something about the giant. I knew he was going to do something good. But yeah, you're right. But it's complicated. They're all used. There's lines. There's history there.
And John did bring, as a peace offering, a bag of dragon glass, which he dug up, north of the wall at that time. It wasn't enough. You're right. Everyone was split. Some of them were going, completely agree. There is a bigger picture here. Other ones going, shut up, crow. We'll have nothing to do with you. All of that became pretty irrelevant.
Well, the second when the Thenn goes, you're all going to get on those boats and we're going to slit your throats.
Yeah.
I was like, they're not going to make it on the boats. The White Walkers are coming. That was the moment that I was like, guys, I think this episode's about to get crazy.
Yeah.
So the Thenn says, hey, you're going to go down there. The night's watch is going to turn on you and all this stuff. And then from there, here's the notes. Here's the notes I had. And then there's only
we all take really good notes.
There's only one word on here, and it says ice.
What was the last thing you wrote in your notes? Because mine was White Walker ambush, ? And that's it.
I wrote ice in big capital letters.
I said, White Walker avalanche attack.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously the mood changed dramatically when they were putting the young kids on the boat. The woman flees.
This is like a horror film. Like, don't say, I'll be right back.
No,
don't say,
Mama, don't leave us. I'll be right behind you. I'm like, she's dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, why?
We all had that moment.
That was when Maude realized she wasn't going to be Jon Snow's love interest.
She wasn't the Blee. She was the plea.
So talking about chilling moments in Game of Thrones, of which there's been a lot. Another one, of course, was end of season 2 with the first blast of the horn, the second blast, and then the third blast of the horn.
Yes.
And John Bradley, Samwell gets to see the army of the dead a little earlier than other people. And this harkens back to that. So right away.
And also at the end of season 3, isn't it? Where Jojen, this is when you see the zombie skeletons for the first time. And you kind of see that they're fast, they're vicious,
4,
and they can work. Was that 4?
End of last season, yeah.
And can work a blade like nobody's business.
Yeah. These are not like Walking Dead zombies. These are badass. I'll jump off of a cliff and stand back up. I will
This is all of
get my head stepped on and probably still stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is all of it. This is all the people who have died in the past. I'm surprised, we didn't see some familiar faces. We could have, but they didn't focus on it. But
or maybe you didn't know because they're just a skull.
You got zombie Thens, you got zombie wildlings, you got free zombie, kissed by fire girls, I'm sure. You got all of it. And even some crows in there too. And they're coming down that. Oh man, what a moment.
Well, and it was so eerie because that moment where one, the Thens are like, oh my gosh, we just realized that we need to close the gates, and half of the people are still out there.
Yes.
And they're like, close the gates, close the gates, close the gates.
That's your free people for you. They're not working together. It's every man for themselves.
They're absolutely all stuck outside, and then the avalanche comes, and then silence.
Dead silence. And you couldn't see a thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was so... and then when he goes to look in the people, I was like, he's going to lose 2 of his eyes. Because remember how last time he was like, well, let's just poke out the crew's eyes.
Yeah.
I was like, he's going to lose them.
Yeah.
And then we started yelling.
Ooh, yeah,
There
was a lot of yelling and screaming in this house, and I'm sure some neighbors were probably screaming along with us down when they're watching their TVs. But so many chilling moments back to back. That silence was one, and you knew it was coming. And I don't think I breathed, took a deep breath the last 20 minutes.
I took no notes.
The silence happened. And then the battle happens, and I was like, maybe I feel like I could maybe actually do some pretty good survival stuff during these fights, because I was like, board up those holes, guys, board up the holes.
Yeah.
And then they did, and I was like, yes.
You were calling out some commands.
Yeah, I was.
So we're trying to recap a battle I don't know if we mentally took in quite yet. This needs some repeat viewing, but it's crazy. It's violent. It's people coming over. The arrows. What are the arrows doing? Nothing.
Yeah,
We kept yelling, you're wasting your arrows.
Well, but these are
back.
the thing with these zombies. They can. It looked like they could be stopped. They're not the White Walkers that you like shoot
not,
them in the arrow and they get right back up again. But I don't know what actually kills them, because it's not the dragon's glass that they need to kill the zombies. It's just those.
No, those
super powerful
those are
ones.
whites, WIGHT, the whites, and this is not the White Walkers. So it's fire. It's that. It's who knows? There's so many different versions in the chat room. Tell us how to kill whites. But I don't think any of us believe they were actually being killed. Just stalling for time.
Stalled, yeah. And this is a thing where there's only a limited number of boats, and then obviously everyone's trying to get the women and the children flee at this time. I'm calling her that because she was supposed to be the future love interest, but then she's the
I accept that.
the plea, the dead potential love interest.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just, they're all kind of going. For me, a powerful moment was John. Come on, get on the boat. We need to get you out now.
Yeah.
Who's going to believe us if you're not here and all these free folk rock up? How will we know if you're not even there to make this all happen?
My kids are on that boat. They're not going to let them in without you.
And what does he do as a true leader? He turns around, pulls out his sword, and makes everyone fight back.
But that's where I said too, I was like, if it were the president of the United States, you'd be like, get him out. Like, he's going down.
But the captain won't go down with that. Goes down with the ship.
Yeah.
So,
That led
different
to
times.
That led to, I think it was after that is the moment where they're fighting, and John looks up and sees the White Walker
on the horses.
The White Walkers on the horses.
Yeah.
It's quiet. It's silent. It's just like, oh man, they've got a lot more. They've got a lot coming.
You know what that moment reminded me of is Return of the King when Theoden.
Yes.
They've held back the charge. He's like, there's elephants coming, damn it.
Yeah.
They
Oliphaunts are on the
remind
way.
me so much of dang it, why am I just blanking?
Because we're really excited about what we just saw.
Oh my God.
What movie?
Give me a second. It's Lord of the Rings. The Kings.
I've seen it.
The Kings.
The Secret Army?
The Ghost Kings.
Yeah. Why am I
The
blanking
Army
on
of
what
the
they're
Dead?
called? No, not the Army of the Dead.
The Way is Shut? It was built by the dead?
No. The kings that had the rings.
Come on,
the
you're
men. The men that had the rings. I'm just blanking.
The Ring Race? The Nazgul?
Yes, the Nazgul.
Hey!
By the way, this is the one with the Lord of the Rings tattoo on her
This is why I
forearm
don't do
here.
trivia, y'all. But they remind me of the Nazgul.
Yeah,
and a little bit of the kings of the way.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that was an ominous moment. The fight is the giant. Had the giant come out of the house yet?
No.
The giant came out because John went back in to look for the dragon glass, and no one was in there, and the Thenn went in with him.
Yes.
And that was when we had the White Walker come in.
Yeah, and
how was that combat? He was swinging like, nah,
first of all,
not going to hit me.
The Thenn gets taken out. You're reminded right away that mere mortal weapons don't the shattering. Remember, it happened to Samwell. Now you can see it here. The Thenn goes quick. He's out. Does the job for the White Walker. Now, quick question, because I know some people were in the chat room wondering too. I obviously it is nothing now, but at that moment, did you think that White Walker was Benjen Stark or maybe Mormont or someone that we knew?
I think we all wanted it to be.
Yeah,
someone that we knew. Because who are these guys? How do they become that position? Because that's why I think it does remind me of the Nazgul and the dead men, because you're like, usually it's a king of some sort that ends up taking on that position.
Yeah.
Or like giving over something. And that was where I asked you guys too. I was like, normally I don't really like hearing too much about what happens in the books.
Yeah.
But I was like, do we know more about the White Walkers? Do we know more about who is this king and who's the leader of them? And you guys were like, no, we actually know more from the show than we do from the books.
Yeah, especially when again, it's not confirmed, and it maybe cast listings or something will leak from this one. I say that's the Night's King. I believe in my heart that the second guy we saw was the Night's King.
They've all had
the little Darth Maul horns.
Yeah.
And he's watching.
He's from Datham.
Yeah.
The other one we saw the first time though, he had a crown on too, didn't he?
I think it could be either, if it's not the same guy, it's one of the 13 in the back. But we're learning, and that's why this is so exciting to me. You hear my voice raised because now we get something else we get to learn. I get to go on listen to the History of Westeros podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts out there, and they will teach me.
Yeah, wow, dude.
But that's where I get a lot of my education is from those two who sit there and do that because they're going to have the answers. I mean, we don't know who this is.
Yeah.
We don't know who it is.
Just sit your badass with a cold ass.
And that fight with Jon was so epic, where it's like literally, again, I love it in fight sequences.
I'm getting Christopher saying that Dan and Dave in the post-episode commentary, which we haven't seen confirmed, is the Night's King by name. Okay. And Adrian, you're right. Cold Hands, more proof that Cold Hands is not Benjen, but Benjen somewhere. And for a second, I thought, well, it kind of had Benjen's hair, beard, and face.
Yeah.
Wow, what that could have been. And what an epic main event fight between those guys.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I love fight sequences where the hero that you're rooting for actually gets kind of hurt. There's moments where I was like, Jon might go down in this fight. Like, I know that's not how it goes down in the books, but when he falls down and he gets the wind knocked out of him, I was like, is he having a heart attack? What's happening? Get up, Jon. Get out.
And the sound's distorted as well. And it's like everything's muffled because he's takes
a big shot, and then he pulls out his sword Longclaw, which is
Valyrian steel.
Valyrian. Well, is it? No, that's good because is someone out there, because ice is his father's blade that exists no more. Brienne has part of it now and all that kind of stuff. But that I guess you'd have to assume that Longclaw is Valyrian steel, passed down from Mormont to Mormont. But that was, to me, never known. I'm maybe the uneducated one here.
Well, that was my question, too, where I was like, when that happened, so what we're talking about is obviously Jon's fighting him, and it's like his final straw. He's already had a weapon destroyed. He pulls the sword out, and he fights him, and it stops. And Jon's face is like, holy shit.
So was the other guy.
Well, yeah.
So my question was, I'm like, is it a possibility that it's not necessarily about the weapon, but about the person who's wielding it?
I think that they put so much emphasis on the dragon blades and this particular obsidian glass. That's so important that I think it's more the weapon than the wielder.
It was a great execution of that element of the story because we all were like, get the dragon glass, get the dragon glass.
Yes.
And then, boom! You popped for that moment. It was like a hot tag in wrestling. It was great.
And it was a great sneak attack because that's how he took him out.
Yeah.
He didn't even
And Kyle, that's a great question. What did you guys think of the White's armor? I was really impressed with it. It really looked awesome to me. Going from a really geeky nerd boy, like I want to cosplay as a White Walker
armor. That's the stuff too that I love on when you do watch the the Lord of the Rings extended stuff, and they do the background on how they create armor. I'm sure they have it for Game of Thrones as well. But where it's like why they choose to do armor in certain ways, why it's like woven, why you're making a weird face.
Beer and Mexican in my gut. I'm just having my own little burp party on this side.
I'm having it that way.
Yeah.
Again, stuck in the middle.
I burped before I was like, that's not friendly.
So yes, the armor was awesome, and I want to know more about why they made it in the way that they did.
Yeah.
So he's knocked out one. We're like, yes, yay! Oh wait, one down. However many to go, and
they're like,
coming.
Cool. They're all standing on the ledge. Hold on. And I thought when this moment happened and all of those zombies came down, or all the whites
they were
came down,
suing.
I thought he was like, you know what? Listen to this. I've got enough that I can just throw these guys at you and they're gonna die. No big deal.
I thought it was a white flag. It was like, all right, cool, we'll call this off. Look, this is me getting rid of them. No.
Yeah, they stand right back up and attack.
And then you're like, oh, this is not going well. And then, of course, you see some of the characters like Flea, who turns into Dlee.
I love that. I'm accepting that name as Flea.
And then at that moment, I was like, are you kidding me? I'm sorry.
Because the kid walkers, man.
The only reason the only way
I want to hear this.
The only way I
her.
would have said okay to this is if it was one of her kids. If she had seen her kid right there as a zombie, I'd be like, okay, she's been fighting zombies. She knows that they're going to kill her and eat her. And then 5 of them just run at her and she's like, yeah, okay.
No, she's okay. And this is what we actually were yelling at it, not yelling at each other, but she's like, whatever. Why would she do that? She just deserves to die. And I'm like, no, because she's a mother. She just sent off her children. And imagine fighting like skeletons and zombies and men and women, and then seeing children. That is her Achilles heel. That is her weakness as a mother. She is looking at these things going, there is no way a child could be a White Walker little and could hurt me, or she whatever it was, but she just shut down.
The one kid did not look like a kid. His bones were out. His ribs were out. I would not look at that and be like, you're scared of Chucky and you wouldn't want to kill those little things?
I would run the other way. I would be gone.
This is, I wish we should just film us watching, because we can all admit that Tiffany is the sweetest and nicest soul of the 3 of us.
Yes.
And she was like, why'd that girl not kill the kids?
Yeah,
Why
if she won't kill a kid, she deserves to die.
Yeah, why? That's what happens.
That is not what I said. I did not say that at all.
That's what happens when you can't kill a kid zombie. You deserve to die, bitch.
I didn't say that. I did say, what is she doing? Why is she just standing there? Kill those zombie kids.
It's a lot harder, I think, when she's just sent her
Again,
kids off.
just proving my worth that if I were there, I would board up those holes and I would kill the zombie
I'd
kids.
kill the kids. Kill them all.
Who wants me on their survivalist team? Everyone here does.
Hey, you're right. Where's Tiffany Smith? She's killing kids out back to save us.
Zombie
someone has to.
children. Zombie children, okay?
I love that.